JabberTalk, 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 Miss Jabber, JabberTalk. JabberTalk is sponsored by MargaretJordanCosmetics.com.
Well, hello and welcome back to JabberTalk with Jacqueline Malcolm, your host. And today we're going to be talking to the amazing Sharlene Hector. Say hello, Charlene.
Hello, Charlene.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're going to hear more about Charlene. I mean, I know there's plenty of our listeners who probably know who she is already from just this amazing career that she's had in singing and music and her influence on the music scene and the gospel scene in London and around the world, in fact.
Wow.
But I have to say that I have a very special relationship with Shar because I've actually known her since I think you were 13, first time we probably actually met.
That sounds about right, actually, yeah.
And you were in a little play that we'd written and you took the lead role. We were at a big youth conference.
Yes.
And it was just this big play that me and my sisters had written, and then we were doing for the conference, and you were part of the youth group.
That's right, yeah.
And you were going to be on the stage for that. And I mean, like, what I have to say is, she may have forgotten the experience, but I tell you what, she has not forgotten how to sing, because I think, didn't you come out the room singing?
Probably, yeah. Probably did come out the room singing, actually. My poor mum. And I was 2 weeks late as well. You get a delivery date, it's like 2 weeks, and then there's 2 weeks either side. I came out 2 weeks after the 2 weeks. And my mum said my skin looked like sausage. You know when you grill a sausage and leave it under the grill? Because I've been in there so long.
You're all shriveled.
I was all shriveled up.
Like you've been sitting in the bath too long.
Sitting in the bath too long, like a prune.
Oh my gosh. So what were you doing in there?
Writing found. Chilling. Making my mother very uncomfortable. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. So just before we go into our 40 questions, because our viewers now know how JabberTalk works.
Yes.
We like to ask, we have 40 set questions, and then we will ask you to give us a number, and we will ask those questions, and away we go. But before we do that, for those who don't know you, do you want to just tell us a little bit more about what you're doing, where you are in your career at the moment?
Okay, well, I'm doing a few different things at the moment. I'm mostly singing, but two friends of mine, LaDonna and Vula, we've joined forces and we've made a vocal supergroup, girl group called Le Charvu. And we actually have a pledge music campaign, and we've raised nearly 70% of our goal so far.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know about this.
Yes, so we're trying to raise money to do a project where we haven't decided whether it's going to be an EP or an album yet, but we've been singing together on and off for about nearly 17 years. I've known Madonna, we worked out yesterday, I've known her for 17 years.
Oh my goodness.
And Vula probably I've known about 15 years. If not, no, probably about the same length, probably about 17 years as well, actually, now I think about it. But so yeah, we've started a little group and we're trying to write an album. We start writing this week, which will be really fun. I also make scented candles. I have a company called Mel and Letta. And it's my
say that name of that company
Mel
again.
And Letta. So Mel is spelled Merle, and Letta is spelled Leettee. Letta is the lady who taught me how to make candles, and Mel is my mother's name.
Oh.
So I just put the two names together. One made me, and one taught me to make something else. So
I love that.
That's why I decided to name it that. But yeah, we have lots of lovely, beautiful scented candles. I come up with the South London Kitchen in Crystal Palace, babes. Yeah.
How you're finding time though to now create a whole new business when you're so busy? I mean, you're somebody who travels the world singing. So I mean, like for people listening in to JabberTalk right now, I mean, talking to Charlene, she's probably played down a lot of her singing sides. She's made, I do a bit of singing here and there, a few gigs. Would you please just name some of the people you've been on the stage with?
Okay, I've done some singing for Emily Sunday, Corinne Bailey Ray, one of the lead singers for Basement Jaxx as well. A friend of mine actually sent me a YouTube video today of a guy called J. James Picton, who a few years ago was doing really well. We did some BVs for him. Well, BVs means backing vocals as well. I've been told I have to make that very clear. Everybody knows what BVs mean. Who else is there? When you just forget. I was working with Louisa Johnson for a while, Rebecca Ferguson as well. They're all X Factor contestants. And who else is there? I did a choir gig for John Legend when he did his X Factor performance, but I was only miming and I was dancing at the same time.
Yay!
And who else is there? I've done some backing vocals for Michael Bublé before as well, which is really cool. So yeah.
Oh, that is so fantastic. So, I mean, seriously, how old were you when you knew this was the direction your life was going to be going in, and
I
that you're
was
going to be
10.
singing? Wow.
I was 10 when I knew that I wanted to be a singer. I think I'd been singing in church from about the age of 3 in front of people from about the age of 5 or 6. And I think that, I just like the fact that I could open my mouth and a sound came out. It didn't have to be a nice sound. Well, it didn't even have to be a nice sound. It was just the fact that you can do things with your voice. That the human voice is something that brings so much healing and so much joy to other people. And the fact that when I made my sound come out, people kind of liked it.
Yeah.
That was a nice feeling. But it was also nice for me because I like the idea of bringing joy to people. For me, it wasn't about, being famous or about people recognising me in the street or anything like that. It was just when people smiled or people felt better, or even if people were crying when I was singing, that to me felt good. So I just knew that I was doing a good thing when I sang, so I just wanted to do it as much as possible. And then when I was 10, I was watching things like Top of the Pops and realising that you could make a living out of it. And I was like, that's what I'll do then. So yeah, about 10. Didn't actually start doing it till I was about, making a living, until I was about 18.
Right, but that's so young.
Yeah.
Even then, you're not 18 anymore, so we're talking a few years on.
A few years on.
Just a few.
At least 2 years on.
It's 2 years later.
Yeah.
No, you said something that was very telling, and I think is very true of your nature. It's like you've always, from I've known you, you've always just sang because you love it, and you love the fact that it actually touches other people's lives as well. So you've never been like the kind of person who needs to be on the forefront, and you need to be. Since I've known you, you've always tried to encourage other people. You've always got behind other people. Why?
I think for me, the idea of somebody fulfilling their potential as much as possible has always captured me. I've always wanted to see people flying and soaring and doing what they love, and nothing makes me feel sadder than talking to a bus driver who actually doesn't want to be a bus driver, or talking to a doorman who hates being a doorman. I remember I met a doorman and he was like, I've been here for 25 years, I love this job, I get to see different people every day, and sometimes you see the same people and they always greet you and everyone's so nice. You do get the odd people who aren't particularly nice, but you could see that man loved his job and really enjoyed it. And that, when you love what you do, that translates to everything that you do. It translates to your personality, it translates to how you treat people. And if you don't love what you do, that also translates to your personality and how you treat people. It's like Roald Dahl said, if you have good thoughts in your mind all the time, they will shine out of your face and you'll look beautiful all the time.
Right.
Same with your job and what you do. If you like making coffee, go and work in Starbucks, or go and open your own coffee shop, or do something like that. And don't let anybody tell you that it's a lesser living, because it's what you love to do. And for me, that's always been a huge thing for me.
Even if you're not like the best at it, that's not me saying, believe me, if you have not heard Sharlene Hector sing, seriously, years ago, me and Charlene used to share an apartment for 2 years, and oh my gosh, wake up to Charlene singing.
I'm so sorry that I used to wake you up.
Oh gosh, you sang around the house all the time, and you did it naturally. You did it naturally, whatever you're doing. Walking past my bedroom, going to the bathroom, wherever you were, you could hear your voice and you could hear you singing, and it was just so beautiful. And anyone who knows me knows I cannot sing. I've got a horrible, hideous voice. But I remember I used to sit, I never get nervous of singing around you, because I remember one time you just said to me, you goes, oh Jack, you know what I love about you is that you will sing as loud as you want, and you don't even care when you go off. You will just keep singing because you love it so much. I love hearing you sing. And for someone to be as talented as you, to say that to someone who really cannot sing, it's such a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? You're just not that kind of competitive person like that. Which
I don't have a competitive bone in my body, which I think irritates some people. But I find competitiveness quite a turn off.
Oh, it is.
I find people who always have to get the one up and try and do more. I went to this place, well, I went there twice and I've been there. It's like, okay, I'd rather someone said, but I do have a tendency, like if somebody's done something and I've done it as well, like, oh my gosh, I've done that as well, and then I want to talk about it. But I realise that I can come across as competitiveness. So when I say I'm not competitive, I really am not. I'm just excited that we've done the same thing and let's talk about it.
Yes,
but
exactly.
I've learned to kind of draw that out now and or draw that down, I should say, and let people talk a bit more. I love a chin like me. So yeah, it's your superpower is being you.
That's
know,
right.
That's what
That's
your
right.
superpower is. And if you constantly look around and check out what everyone else is doing, you're just going to be miserable.
Well, there you go.
Up,
You
and
just
they'll
gotta
never
be yourself.
measure up to you. So what's the point in trying?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that. Even talking about the candles, Merle and Letta. What I love about it is that you got into it simply because you love candles.
Yes, I was spending huge amounts of money every month on candles. And you know, when you have to choose between paying your rent or buying candles, and you choose buying candles, and it's like, it's all right, I'll make some more money next week. So yeah, it got a bit bad, and then I just kind of thought, okay, I have to be a responsible adult here. So I just mentioned in passing to someone I was working with at the time that I loved candles, and I needed to figure out a way to, you know, get some more candles cheaply because I was spending too much money. And he said, oh, my girlfriend makes candles, I'm sure she'll show you how to do it. And I was like, do you know what? If someone showed me how to make candles, that would save me a fortune. And she did. She had a little workshop. Her name was Letta. That's so she's named after, she's the second name of the company. And she taught me how to make candles, and I just went home for a few months and practiced, and
Brilliant.
some of them didn't smell of anything, and, you know, and it was really weird. And then I just practiced, and now I'm actually selling them to my friends and family, and you know, people at gigs. If I have a gig, everyone else got CDs to sell, and I sell candles. I'm like, well, this is my grocery shopping money for the week. Thank you very much. So, yeah.
How fantastic. And just born out of just loving
Just the love.
what
I
you're
think,
doing.
do you know what? I think the problem is because when you're a singer or an actor or a dancer, people think that's all you are and that's all you can do.
No, it's so true.
So, I mean, even like, for example, when I first started selling candles at this regular gig that I do at Ronnie Scott's, and people were like, did you make these yourself? And I was like, yeah, I did. No, you didn't. No, I really did. I made them. Okay, how did you make them? Well, you melt wax. And no, I don't want to know. I was like, oh, okay, well, I did. You know, and people don't believe that you can do anything else when you do something else quite well.
Right.
So I think it's really important for everybody to find out what their talents are. People say I haven't got any talents, but everyone's got several talents inside of them.
Oh, so
and they
much
just need
so.
to figure out what it is, because I had no idea I could do this.
Or that you'd even want to do
Yeah.
this, right? Until you
No
start
idea. I thought
to
you
do it.
purchase candles. That's what you do. You purchase them, and then you burn them, and you purchase more. I didn't realise you could actually make them, and you can make them smell how you want them.
Oh my gosh, and something in what you just said as well, you just dropped it in there, your regular gig at Ronnie Scott's. Do you see what I mean? You're so funny. Because you walk this life and you've been walking it for like 20 odd years now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you don't even think about it. But for someone else to get a regular gig at Ronnie Scott's, that would be a massive thing for them, and they'd be shouting it on the rooftops. I mean, for those who have never been to Ronnie Scott's, means that you don't know London. I mean, Ronnie Scott's is the #1 jazz place.
It is.
I mean,
And do you
in
know what?
Europe, let alone
I did
in just
actually
London.
realise this just this week, because the group that I sing with is called Soul Family, and we have a gig there once a month, and we've been there 10 years this year.
Oh my gosh.
And so they gave us our own festival, which lasted all weekend. So we were there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, how fantastic.
Last night was the last night, and I think it began to sink in. I mean, I'm there all the time, but it really began to sink in over this weekend. I was like, do you know what? This is a real privilege.
Yes.
Being here as often as I am. There are people. And do you know what happened? Do you know when it happened? I was in the toilet.
As you
And there's
do.
a picture of Nina Simone in one of the toilets, and I was like,
Oh wow.
she's played here, and it has the date that she played.
Oh,
I've literally been on the same stage as someone as amazing as Nina Simone.
There you go.
You know,
and you
and
have a regular gig there singing.
It's not to be taken for granted.
Right.
And I have for the past 10 years completely taken it for granted. I'm going to work. That's it. But in actual fact, it's an honour and a privilege and something amazing that I can tell my grandkids.
Exactly.
So,
That is so cool. And please, everyone who's listening in right now to JabberTalk, we're talking to Sharlene Hector, and if you're thinking that she is just like one of those fake Hollywood types who is just pretending to be this humble, she really is like this. She is like the most laid back, the most down to earth.
I'm always horizontal jacket. Yeah.
But I love it. But you know, I know you love your life, and I know you're so grateful. I know that you're just a happy person. I mean,
yeah.
Great energy, great person to be around.
Thank
so,
you.
oh, I love you. So, but now, for those who are listening in, you know how JabberTalk works. We always have our 40 questions, and this is no different.
Right.
Charlene has no idea what is on this paper, what questions are about to come to her. And so, Charlene, you can now pick a number between 1 to 40, and I will ask you that question.
Well, it's just turned 2017, so I'll pick number 17.
Number 17 coming up right now. Which event in your life taught you the best lesson? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be to do with your career. It can literally be anything. What event in your life has taught you the best lesson that, has taken you on and made you the person you are today?
I think, it's going to sound strange, but I think what has taught me the most was having to move house. And just a few years ago, and having to prove my income so that I could find somewhere to live, and having not done my tax returns for years and years and years,
Yikes.
and instantly owing huge amounts of money, that has taught me that I need to stay on top of admin. Now, being a creative person, admin is not a huge strong point for me.
Yeah, no.
However, it is my background. So before I was singing, my mum forced me to go to college, and I'm actually a qualified secretary. I don't know if I'm a qualified secretary in this day and age. I've changed quite a lot, but I can still do my shorthand. I can still type really fast and all that kind of stuff. So my background is organising. So really, I should have been on top of it, and I wasn't. But that all ended this year, and I got my tax returns in June this year. They're not due to be handed in till the end of
October,
or January.
Yeah, January,
and
if you do it online.
June last year.
Wow!
Because I said this is not happening to me again. I'm not going to be lumped with a load of debt, which was completely avoidable.
Right.
So that's the lesson that's taught me the most, in just getting into a lot of debt and then finally getting out of it. That's what taught me the most.
Yeah, and it's just by that simple thing of just not staying on top of your admin.
Exactly, and all you have to do, for anybody who's thinking about being self-employed, is get 12 envelopes, and anything that's anything to do with your business, you just write April, May, June, July, up until the next April on each envelope. And you put all your receipts that are to do with your business in each envelope for each month. Don't sort them out, just put them in the envelopes. Get your bank statements and put them in a file. As soon as they come in, just open them, put them in a file, forget about them, because then come April or whenever, you can say, here you go, Mr. Accountant Man, or you can go through stuff and it's organised and it's done, and you never have to think about it again. And that's what I do now. So I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And you know what? As sorry as I am that you landed suddenly with this big debt. The thing about taxes is this: it's like the higher your tax means the more you earn, and so it's kind of like it's really difficult to really be like, oh no, because I did last year. I had a massive tax, and it's kind of like, oh, and at first you just want to complain, but then you have to take a step back and say, oh, but as a self-employed person, I have made enough money that I've had to pay that much tax.
True.
So really, I should be more thankful for the money that I was actually able to make, and maybe had I not been busy spending it all.
Maybe if I hadn't downloaded the ASOS app, I might be all right. Yeah, totally. That is a good way to look at it. Definitely.
Yeah, so well done. That's a great one. That's a really good lesson. I hope you creative types out there are listening in, because I know that's a standard thing for people who are creative. It's so hard to put on your business hat sometimes. Okay, another question. 1 to 14, not 17, of course.
38.
Number 38. Okay, this is just to kind of test your brain.
Okay, oh Jesus.
Can you name 3 world leaders?
3 world leaders?
Yeah, her eyes are now darting back and forth. She's getting her phone out. She's Googling. She's not really. She's not.
3 world leaders. So are we talking about governmental world leaders or spiritual leaders?
Oh, anything. Anyone who comes to mind as a world leader. And if someone I don't know,
that came to mind was Gandhi, but again, he's dead. So I don't know if he counts.
Do you know anyone who's alive still?
Barack's no longer really the president, is he?
But, well, as of today, he is still, as we recorded.
Okay, so Barack Obama.
Right, because they hand over, it's the 20th of January, doesn't it?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, so Barack Obama, President of the United States, and yes, the Donald Trump. Dread.
Oh my God. Theresa May, is it still Theresa May?
It is still Theresa May.
Because it was someone else, and then everybody resigned as soon as everything breaks up.
I know.
So I was like, well, who now? So yeah.
And you're who? What?
I don't get it. And she wasn't even elected, so that's a joke. But yes, Theresa May. Well, I don't know.
Who would you consider a world leader? Not governmentally, but who would you consider is someone who is on a world platform, has got a world voice? It could be a musician, it could be, you see what I mean? But who would you say has got world influence?
I would say somebody like Beyonce. It's interesting because as musicians, we're obviously trying to create art for ourselves and for other people as well, but we have to, being an artist, you have to express who you are. And I think I'm not entirely sure how much of her expression is from herself. I think that a lot of
interesting.
I think a lot of it is, people put a lot of responsibility on artists as well, like, well, the whole Black Lives Matter thing. What are you going to say about that? You're black, you need to say something. And then she does, and it's like, oh, she's jumping on the Black Lives Matter bandwagon, so she can't win. So I don't know. But I would say with musicians in mind, I would say that she has definitely influenced a lot of people. There's a whole generation of singers who clearly listen to her a lot and sound like her. Which, everybody has influences, but I really love singers who, this is slightly going off the subject now, but I really love singers who don't sound like anyone. I was introduced to a lady called Bidi Bell the other day, who's amazing. She's from Norway, and she doesn't sound like anyone I've ever heard before. She's a very distinctive, beautiful voice. But I think everybody has the power to influence the world, but it's just one act of kindness at a time, I guess. It's just one positive thing at a time.
I love that. Cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I didn't really answer your question, but
no, yes, you did.
Tried.
You did. You got Barack Obama, you got Theresa May, and you got Beyonce. Dum dum dum. Sorted.
Did it?
Okay. Another question. 1 to 40, not 17 or 38.
1.
Number 1.
It's interesting.
It is, isn't it? So, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Happy. I want to be happy when I grow up.
Okay, but how do you, happy...
Do you know what? When I was younger, I assumed that by this point in my life I would be married with children, and I equated having a family with success and happiness, and I believed that is what I would need in order to be happy. This has not happened, for want of trying, but it hasn't happened. And I realised last year that I could either accept the fact that I would never be happy, or I could find another way to make myself happy.
Oh, I love that.
I chose to do the latter, because sometimes life doesn't work out the way you think it's going to, and sometimes things don't happen by the time you think they will. And it's always because that's just how life is, but I think it's always because there is this destiny that is so much bigger than what we conceive in our own minds. There's always more.
Right.
Like, we're raised to go to school, go to uni, meet someone, get married, have kids, and then send them to school so that they can go to uni, meet someone, have... Do you know what I mean?
So true.
We're not taught about actually maybe perhaps going to Africa and finding out about how they do commerce over there.
Right.
We're not actually taught about going to India and actually working out how to, meeting perhaps somebody who likes to make clothes and picking up a young designer and maybe getting her to do all your clothes for you and coming back to wherever you're from and advertising for this. There's so much more, film, music, acting, floristry. There's so much more to life, and a lot of the time you have this idea in your head, usually put there by your parents, about what is success in life.
Yeah, and how that's defined.
And if you constantly focus on that, you can end up unhappy, especially if it doesn't resonate with you. And I've always believed that getting married and having kids, that equals success. Not money, not being famous, but having a family.
Wow.
And I've never had a family, so I could look at myself as unsuccessful. But then I know that other people look at me and they go, shit, man, if I had a career like Sharlene Hector's, I'd be so happy.
Right, exactly.
I'd be successful. Do you know what I mean?
Because you're mega successful.
She makes a living out of singing. That's success to me. So everybody's version of success is different. I've had to change mine. And I'm so glad that I have, because now I'm finally happy.
That is wonderful.
I don't have a husband. I don't have any kids. But I am happy. And I didn't think I could be.
Right, exactly.
So that's why I say when I grow up, I want to be happy, because that is everything. No matter what happens,
right.
If you're happy. If someone comes along, great. If they don't, I'm still happy.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Because you are going to define what happiness means to you as you go along, day by day, step by step. That is so healthy.
Important, because I know there are a lot of women who are much older than you and I, and they've never met anyone, and they really feel like their lives are complete failures.
Right.
Because they never looked beyond. They never thought, okay, well, that hasn't happened yet, so let me go over here and see what's over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me explore what's up there.
Yeah, let me use my singlehood powerfully and do something with that.
Exactly. Because if you just focus on the fact that you haven't got what you wanted up until this point, figure out what else you want.
Yeah.
And go after that. And I'll tell you, it'll change your thinking, it'll change your life. And who knows, you might meet someone along the way. But even if your idea of success is working in a supermarket, and you go for every interview and you never get that job in the supermarket, and you think, that's all I've ever wanted to do, so how can I be happy now? Just look around, there'll be something else. Because there's no way that all of us only have one thing in us. There's so much, so.
Right, no, I love that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, so we've got time for one more question.
Okay, cool.
And then I'm going to also ask my favourite question at the very end.
Okay.
But for now, what is your question of choice?
12.
Number 12. Right. If you had to start your life all over, what would be the one thing that you would change?
I would definitely lose weight.
Oh,
Definitely.
really?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, what? Like you're obese now? What are you saying?
Do you know why? Because I love shoes. And the thing is, right, when you wear heels and you're slightly on the heavier side, there's a lot of pressure going into the actual shoes. So half the time they get removed. Now, if I was smaller and slimmer, because there was a point where I was a lot slimmer, and shoes were so much easier.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, and buying clothes is so much more fun because you don't have to go to the same place every time.
Right,
I can walk down the street and crouch in, go into a boutique and try something and go, just come home with me. But at the moment I can't really do that because then I really do the larger sizes. But I think that's definitely the only thing I can think of now that I would do totally differently. I would lose weight, but not for any negative reason, just because I love shopping and I love shoes and I love clothes. And life was easier when I was smaller. I wasn't as tired all the time. And, you know, so for energy and for just zipping around and, you know, even putting a seatbelt on an airplane, I fly a huge amount. So, you know, there was a point where, you know, you're kind of the smaller aircrafts and you're like...
Right.
Just suck in your stomach and then plug it in. I don't want to have to ever worry about that. So I think, yeah, definitely losing weight.
So do you think that's something you might pursue in the future, in the near future?
Yes. I think it's something I'd like to at least have been slim for a couple of years once in my life.
Right.
You know,
not just for 3 months.
You know what I mean? Exactly, not for 3 months, and then it's like, right, it's okay, kid. Because that's what happens. You lose it and you feel great, so let's celebrate, let's change everything. And then before you know it, it's all back on again, and you're confused and don't know what happened. So yeah, I think I'd like to be slim for a couple of years. That'd be nice.
Oh, okay, cool.
But don't get me wrong, I love all the voluptuousness.
Well, you're just stunning.
Thank
You're
you.
stunning and glamorous and beautiful, and yeah, no, you really are. But you shine from the inside out, don't you, really? So it's like we're just sitting in this lovely little restaurant in Crystal Palace at the moment, and Charlene picked me up from the station, and I'll tell you what, as soon as I got in the car, she's got this beautiful, like, leopard skin, furry coat on, and a massive smile on her face, and her skin is just glowing. And I said, oh my gosh, what are you doing to your skin? And expecting her to tell me what cosmetics she'd bought. She started telling me about her candles and
Because
how
they make me happy.
and it literally is just the happiness flowing from inside, and I just love that.
I think it's really important to find out how to be happy and
So
not to
key.
necessarily believe that it's what you've been told equals happiness, or even what you feel inside equals happiness. So important, because the happier you are, the happier you'll be. And I know that sounds obvious.
No, it's true.
But it's true.
Wow, I love that. Okay, so my final question, which is that I ask all of our guests, but is there a song that is really relevant to you, to your life, to a situation?
Do you know what? My favourite song ever written is Ain't Nobody by Shaka Khan. And I love that song. And it's everything from the way the song starts, the way it fades in, the way there's a little guitar riff in the middle eight that no one ever plays when you play in the band live. So when somebody does play it in the band, I'm always like, you're a good guitarist. You've played every other song crap. Do you remember that part? I Love You Forever. But that's my favourite song. And I have no idea why. But I could literally leave it on repeat for a whole day. And I have done. And not get sick of it.
Oh, how
I love that
interesting.
song. That's my favourite song. And I think Shaka Khan's amazing as well.
Right, yes. Oh, Charlene, this has been brilliant.
Yeah,
So at the end of this, we're going to make sure we play your song for you, so be listening in and treat yourself to that one.
Exactly.
And gosh, I only pray and hope the absolute best for you in every area of your life, because you're one of those people who absolutely deserve it. And you know, I know we were talking earlier about a transitional time and things slightly changing in your life, and I just know that big doors, just even bigger doors are opening, because, you know, you've had massive doors open for you in your lifetime, but you have not taken one of them for granted, and that's why God can bless you. So,
Thank you.
I love you.
Love you. Thank you for interviewing me. It was great.
Okay, so thank you so much. You were listening to JabberTalk. I'm Jackie Malcolm. Our other producers, Carol Malcolm and Marva Gregorio de Souza, and our executive producer, Eva Christine Ingram. We love you all, and we'll hear from you, and we'll see you next week. And say goodbye, Charlene.
Bye, Charlene.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.